Folks, this actually just going to be a really quick one because we have some move craziness going on right now. Not quite what we expected, but as you all know, we were getting a mover to get the armoire and the sofa and a couple of other large items from the old place and bring them to the new place tomorrow. However, they have given us such a runaround that we've had to basically drop the mover that we were going to use. Hey, Wayne, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So Christina and our friend Jeff right now are running around like mad trying to get things prepped because the sofa and the armoire and a couple of other large things are going to be coming tomorrow. And with all the running around that we did to try and rebook and find a different mover last second, it's put us behind schedule. So this is why I'm going to come on very briefly. Take a look at the comments right now. I've tagged the people who are our primary sponsors and contributors who will be able to be written into the Irish Storytime for next weekend. Again, anybody who still wants to join in has until tomorrow night to be either a $5 sponsor or submit $5 worth of awards, and we can give you let you choose an Irish mythological archetype for us to write you into the story. So what I'm going to do right now is I have got a series of archetypes, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy and paste each archetype. Let's see if I can do this properly. That's it. And boom. I'm going to do this. So each archetype I'm going to copy and paste like this. And by all means, anybody who's there, let me know if you're interested in taking part. And if you haven't already made your $5 contribution, by all means. Hang on a sec. Looking. One, two, boom. Oh, interesting. Okay, hang on. I have second puke here to put up. There we go. Those are, come on. How's everyone doing? Can everyone hear me? I'm choosing not to use the regular mic or anything like that at the moment because we are basically running fairly quickly here. For some reason, this is not allowing me to. Does it need to be? No, it doesn't need to be. What does? Okay. That's better. Now I figured that out. You actually have to add text to a photo in order for it to be able to paste into your comments. So I'm going to take each of the archetypes and I'm going to drop the relevant photo reference that we found into it, so you guys can know kind of what you're looking at and what we're sort of trying to do for the where is it? There it is, right there. Does the Martin of the pants, glowy nose, mustache, and DNO sound? Hey, Dawn. Saw your message. Basically, take a look a few comments up just near the top of the broadcast. And wait, what? And see what we're doing. You've already got the $5 thing down pat. So sorry, my sound was off. It's me, not you. Oh, good. Thank you for letting me know that. So I'm basically just going to do this and drag and drop. I hope we can be friends. Always. So this is actually going to be a very short broadcast as Christina's frantically trying to get the living room prepped for the armoire and the sofa, which are coming tomorrow morning. The original mover that we had chosen kept screwing us over. They kept trying to change the schedule and basically saying that, oh well, we're such a small move. They keep booking full house and full apartment moves. and sort of overbooking themselves. So can we do it on this date? Can we do it on this date? And I gave in to them a couple of times, unfortunately, and that kind of started a bit of a precedent to. Where am I looking at? Changeling. These pictures are the archetypes we can pick from. Yes, they are. So I've got a few more to post here. So by all means, stand by as I go through these. So eventually, we just decided, you know what, we're fed up with this guy. So we will. Late last night, I started making a bunch of phone calls to find a new mover, and we got a couple of callbacks first thing this morning. Got a good price that was comparable to the guy that kept screwing us around, and so we changed movers. But it means we have to do it tomorrow morning, as opposed to a couple of days from now. So it means a bit of craziness to get everything prepped, which is why I'm doing a very short broadcast here. I'm going to post all the archetypes and their relative images as we go here. Boom, ba-boom. And hoping not to glaze over any people's comments. My Irish werewolf is a no-go. Not necessarily. We noticed that yours was a very specific character. I haven't even gotten to the werewolf yet, so bear with me. That particular one, we're not looking at a specific character from mythology, but the archetype, in other words, the generic kind of, because some of the Irish werewolves, there was actually a lot of them we discovered. There was a whole clan of werewolves that apparently was the ancestors to a line of kings or something along those lines, which I was quite surprised to hear. What do we get? The Dullahan. But I will get to the werewolf soon. We've already got Peter from Haps was very interested in being the werewolf. There's Dullahan. There's Dullahan. Actually, was it Peter? Hang on a sec. Give me 1 second. My phone's over now, so I've been charging because it's been so much going on with yes. Oh, that's right. We were joking about Peter and the Wolf. Ooh, hey, Tinkerballs, how are you? Glad to have a new viewer on. I think this is what I requested. Yeah, it was a particular name I think that you had listed, but the Irish werewolves are interesting in that they individual when they transform into a werewolf, the human form, the werewolf actually separates from the human form and leaves the human form in sort of a coma while the werewolf is out on the prowl. And anything that happens to the werewolf affects the human form, and the human form is very vulnerable. So you can theoretically, harm the human form and harm the werewolf as a result. But and anything that the werewolf, eats or does or whatever is reflected in the human form. So when the human wakes up again, if the werewolf still had a morsel of rabbit in its mouth, then so will the human. But they separate as two separate entities while the werewolf is out on the prowl. And here you go. So it's a very interesting variation on the werewolf mythos. Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? Like that. And this one here actually was kind of interesting. I'll have it popped up here in a moment. We immediately thought of Shane when we found this Irish archetype. And you'll see in a moment why we thought of Shane. As many of you know, she has her cat Piper who passed away, had a zombie concepts get interesting when you look at different cultures. Norse is particularly nasty. Yeah, and the Irish have an interesting one. The I think I've got it already farther up on the list. It's the Fair Gorta, and it's not so much a zombie, but a walking dead that wanders around the land begging people for food. And if you feed it, it will grant you eternal like wealth and prosperity and all these sort of things. But if you don't feed it, you will have eternal suffering and you know poverty and sickness and pestilence and all that sort of thing. So I think I've come up to I've got one last one here to do. And boom, paste, and find the image. Did I get them all? Boom. All right, so that should be all of them. I'm just going to browse back here to the beginning of them all and see if everything's there. So we've got the. Oh, I did miss the leprechaun. How did I miss the leprechaun? Let's fix that then. I went from the banshee to the puka for some reason. You can't have Irish folklore without a leprechaun. And it's interesting that the whole concept of the leprechaun has been kind of mutated by the whole St. Patrick's Day, you know, American holiday kind of thing. What do we got? But the original leprechaun it's similar to the you know stereotype that's been promoted now, in that he generally hides his pot of gold at the end of a rainbow, at the base of a rainbow, or somewhere in the vicinity. But you have to capture the leprechaun, and he needs to grant you 3 wishes before he can be freed again. And of course, the wishes always revolve around, you know, where is his pot of gold hidden? And there's an account in Irish folklore of there's a lot that's been screwed up with St. Patrick's Day, not to mention starting with St. Patrick himself. Yeah, exactly. But in Irish folklore, a man captured a leprechaun, and the leprechaun showed him that his pot of gold was buried beneath this tree, this one particular tree in a forest. But the man didn't have a shovel, so he tied his belt around the tree and went to get a shovel. And when he returned, every tree in the forest had an identical belt tied around it. So that was the leprechaun being the typical prankster and tricking him into not knowing which tree his gold was under. So things like that. So looking back on it, the Fomorians are they're the supernatural race. They're kind of like, they're almost like the origin race of the Irish people. That all Irish people sprung forth from the Fomorians. And there's a lot of religions and cultures that have that sort of ancient race, birth race kind of thing. The Enbar is basically a water horse, so you know, sea monster, sea creature, but it's more of a benevolent creature, you know, super fast, super helpful, kind of. Possibly was who knows, was maybe inspired by dolphins or some kind of whales. Who knows? Yeah, so the zombie concepts, yeah, and of course the Catsi. So basically a did it actually get a little text? There we go. Yeah. So, and of course Bodach and Keliach were basically tricksters that quite often would show up together and play tricks and pranks and harmful things to people. The werewolves, as I described, they're able to leave their human form behind, and when they transform into a wolf. The Abertach was an Irish version of a vampire, and was a particular account of a countryside or one of the counties that was being in the 8th century or something like that. So even predating Vlad Tepes was terrorizing the countryside. So. Preference, either my werewolf or yours. Kelpie, the Fair Gorta. Your name preference is Dagon. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Don. We will look at that. And again, by the end of tomorrow night, anyone new who's posted $5 worth of sponsorships or rewards will include you in the story as well. So we're hoping to do another broadcast tomorrow night. I'm not going to be on very much longer because I should get going pretty soon. So Bodach and Keliach, the werewolf, the Abarta, the Dolahan is literally the headless horseman of Ichabod Crane fame. Carries his head in one hand and a human spine whip in the other hand, and it was the inspiration for that particular folklore and the story. There's the Fair Gorta. So the moral, of course, is always to share. You don't share, you don't prosper. I just jumped around, jump up, jump down. The Fardarig is called the leprechaun's evil twin. He's clad in red. Fardarig translates to red man. And he kidnaps his victims with a sack, quite often kidnapping children that the fairies would replace with changelings. So, and of course, changelings, a fairy child put in the place of a human child, because quite often the fairies didn't want to raise their own children. They wanted to trick the humans into raising them for them. They're drawn towards musical instruments, and people have been always mesmerized by their music. They're musically proficient, so any musically proficient child was always referred to as possibly a changeling. The Kelpie is the evil water spirit, so it's sort of the antithesis of the Enbar, in that it would masquerade or appear as a horse and lure people to ride it, and then it would dive under the water with its rider, drown the rider, and then eat them. So that was never a fun thing. The Miro, there's mermaids in Irish culture as well, and they were able to travel on land, but you would usually wear a red cloak or a red cap, and if that red cap and cloak were taken away from them, they were trapped on land, and with this eternal search of trying to get the red cap or cloak back so that they could return to the water. So, of course, the puka, visible in a couple of different forms, was this, either in the form of a horse or a rabbit, would terrorize the countryside. But farmers would actually like to have pukas because they would put offerings out in the fields for them, because when the puka came around and scared the livestock, chickens would lay more eggs, cows would get more milk, that sort of thing. So the pukas were actually hoped for in many ways. And then, of course, the banshee, the omen of death, wailing and haunting cry, signaling the portent of somebody in your family about to die. So, here we go. Okay. Not too particular. Okay, too bad you're not on much longer. You're doing a great broadcast. Oh, thanks, Don. Like I said, Christina is frantically trying to get things ready so that we can get the sofa and the armoire here tomorrow morning. We're going to be meeting the movers at the old place at 9 a.m. So this place has to be ready for it, and we still have boxes and stuff in the living room and stuff in the way. So a little bit of a panic to get that done now. If you look at Ichabod Crane and Tam O'Shanter by Robert Burns, which came before, I think Crane was ripped off from Tam O'Shanter. Okay, there you go. Same white horse shows up in Scots mythos. Does the same thing. Oh, the Enbar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like the Scottish and Irish mythos, we notice that a lot, even with like the Cat's was mostly Scottish, but there were a lot of accounts of it in Ireland as well. So that's the basic rundown, folks. Anyone who hasn't already chosen, or anyone who's going to be contributing your $5 before tomorrow night, take a look at the archetypes, take a look at what's there, and we'll see what we come up with. So we're on the 20-minute mark. I'm going to get going so I can rejoin them and finish getting stuff done and try and get some food. And secret, I've developed a cookie I call Selkies. Oh, nice. That's awesome. It's not much of a secret, though, now, is it, Don? Anyone watching this broadcast will find out, but we're looking forward to seeing the recipe. Okay, folks, so I'm going to go join Christina, and the recipe will be released in one of my books. Yes, looking forward to that. So as Christina says, respect yourself more than anyone else can, and all would be fine. Recipe is still a secret. Oh, there you go. It's secret recipes for now. And we hope to see everyone tomorrow. We will be broadcasting tomorrow evening. and see who else is interested in joining us and becoming part of the Irish Storytime. And the broadcast for the Irish Storytime will be next Saturday, April 17th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Very much similar to what we did with the Lord of the Rings Middle Earth broadcast. And so Christina and I will be in costume. She will be in her Irish fairy Queen Maeve costume. And I will be throwing together an Oberon type character because I don't actually have an Irish fairy character. So we're going to put one together for me. So we'll see everyone tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. And those people checking out the replay, by all means, leave comments. You can still do so after the broadcast is ended and during the replay. And we'll review those and see who else is joining us. Take care, everyone.